Okay. So today we are going to discuss, right, one of the important concept of any kind of web application you take into considerations. That is, right, what I can say, role-based authentication. So we'll start with role-based authentication, and in our right upcoming sessions, we will also discuss, right, how to implement claim-based authentication. So for now, we have discussed, right, how to create a user and how to create a role, how we can assign right roles to user and manage the things, right? For example, we have discussed, right? So this is what we have discussed. So this is the list of roles, and here you can see we can click on this edit button and we can discuss what are the roles is assigned to this one. Let me give the admin to everybody. Okay. Okay, let me remove one of the user. Let me remove this Pranay Kumar 777 from this list and update this one, right? So this is the current list and this is my second user. You can see currently what is this role? Admin. None of them is inside this role. Okay, let me give it in Pranay Kumar info. Okay, let me give this to super admin, admin, and this is user. User, let me give it everybody. Right, so we have created few roles and we have assigned them to their respective users. So now what I need to do is I want to implement role-based authentication for my application. So role-based authentication means what? Guys, tell me. What do you mean by authentication? What do you mean by authentication?
Verification, whether it has user has permissions, verification
No,
of permissions.
no. What is you are talking? That is authorization. And what
Okay,
is
yes, sorry. Authentication
role-based?
is like,
This is authorization. There are two things. One is authentication and authorization and role based. Authentication means it is asking the user who are you. Authorization means what? Do you have permission to access some resources, right? So basically, right? So in simple word, what I can say, authentication means the process of identifying the user, right? Whether the user is a valid user or not, right? That process is nothing but you can say, right? Authentication. Clear? Authentication means verifying the identity, whether the user is a valid user or not. That means if the user passing the username and the password, whether this is a valid user in my database or not. If the user passing some kind of a authentication token, whether that token is valid or expired, that is what is going to be checked by the authentication process. Clear?
yes,
So this authorization will come into the picture whenever you are implementing right role-based authentication or you can say claim-based authentication. Clear? So authentication means identifying the user whether the user is a valid user or not. And this things, right? This authorization means it can be your role-based authorization or it can be your claim-based authentication or authorization. What exactly it means? It means whether the authenticated user has permission to access certain resources or not. For example, you are having created one action method. Let's say modify user mode or delete user or delete role. Few action methods are there. Whenever the user trying to access that action method, you need to check. First of all, the user must be authenticated user. If authenticated, does this user has permission to access this action method or not? So that is what we can implement. All right, for that scenario, we can implement authorization. It can be your role based or it can be your claim based. So what is claim based? We'll discuss later. For now, let's keep focus on the role based. For example, we have created many roles in our database. If you see this user roles table, we have created super admin, admin, user, right? These are the different, right? What I can say roles. Now, what you need to check whenever the user is created, we need to assign that user with one or more role. Whether the user having super admin, admin, or user, right? Any role the user can have. Now, whenever the user trying to access the resource, we need to implement a role-based authorization means this resource must be accessed by a user having admin role. This resource must be accessed by a user having both admin and super admin role. This user can be accessed by anyone, anonymous user can access. This user must be accessed by a user having the user role, right? So these things we need to implement, right? So not only creating the role is all, or by simply creating the user is all. So what we need to do, we need to mix both of these. We need to assign roles to user to role, and whenever the user trying to access some of the resources, we not only need to check whether the user is a valid user, but also we need to verify the right permission. We need to verify the role and claims associated with that user, and based on the roles or you can say claims, we need to check whether the user has proper permission to access the action method or not. So that is nothing but your role-based authorization, or you can say based on the rules how we can access the user. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Right? So, and guys, remember. So whenever you are going to create, right? Whenever you are going to create a role-based authentication or authorization, you can say you have to first decide what are the roles that I need in my application. For example, let assume I'm going to use admin, user, sales, and moderator role. So these roles are going to define different level of access or permission, right? Which can access different part of your applications, right? And we can define this role right by using database seeding process, right? Or you can execute some insert SQL statement in the database, or you can create an admin channel for managing the roles, right? So what I'm going to do is, right, and guys, remember this role-based authorization or authentication is going to be happen use right by using the authorize attribute, right? So first of all, what I'm going to do is right, I need to use suppose right, you need to implement role-based authentication, right? So you have to use something like this: authorize roles equals to admin. So here you can pass multiple roles. You can also use authorize attribute multiple times. All these things I'm going to discuss. So if I'm not applying any roles, if I'm applying authorized attribute once, if I'm applying authorized attribute with multiple roles, if I'm applying right, multiple times the authorized attribute having different roles. So what will happen in each and every scenario? That is what we need to discuss. But before that, what I need to tell you is please make sure your application having these three role: admin, moderator, and user. So currently you can see I'm having this admin user, super admin user. Let me change this one. Let me give this one as the moderator. So this moderator role, this is moderator role. Okay, moderator, admin, and what is the next one? User. Okay, moderator, admin, and user. These are the three roles. Okay, that's fine. So now, once you have the roles and once you assign these roles to some of the users, right, then what will happen? Then in that case, right, those users having those roles, they can access certain, right, those action methods which is having those kind of roles. For example, right, for example, I can apply this roles admin. Suppose I apply this authorize attribute roles equals to admin. You can say admin must be a valid role in your application, otherwise it will not work. So whatever name you have provided here, that must be a valid name here, right? So once you apply this one, what exactly it means? It means now inside this administrator controller, whatever all action methods are there, to access those action methods, the user must have the role admin. The user must have the role admin. If the user doesn't have the role admin, then he cannot access any of the action method. Clear? So once you apply this one, at the controller level means what? Means it will be applicable to all the right action methods. Clear? We have discussed these things. Clear or not? If I
Clear,
apply
sir.
one attribute at the controller level means what? Means it will be applicable to all the action methods. Similar to the routing concept, right? In routing, we can apply the route attribute at the controller level as well as at the action method level. If I apply at the controller level, is it applicable to all the action method within that controller? Yes, it is applicable. The same concept is also here. If I apply at the controller level, means what? Means it will be applicable to all the action. You can also specify multiple roles. How? You can see admin slash moderator. Now, if your requirement that the action methods within this controller should be accessible to all the admin user, either or the moderator user. Guys, remember. Right. So whatever attribute I am applying here, it can be applied at the controller level as well as at the action method level. See. So if I am applying multiple roles separated by comma using a single attribute, then what it means? It means the user must have the role either admin or moderator. Anyone is fine if you want to access the action method within this controller. So whenever I'm specifying multiple roles separated by comma using a single authorized attribute. In that case, the user must have either any of this role to access the action method within this controller. Now here any of this role is fine. But if I'm applying the authorized attribute to multiple times, here you can see separately I have applied authorized attribute to admin. Here also I have applied the authorized attribute to its moderator. So in this case, the user must have both the role. One is not sufficient. In this case, the user must have admin as well as must have a moderator role to access the action method. Now it is your requirement. If your requirement is that any role is fine to access the action method, then you can go with this admin or a moderator. Means you can go with this approach. Right? But in your case, if the requirement is that no, one is not sufficient, the user must have both the admin and moderator role, then in that case, you need to decorate the two authorized attribute, each one specifying the respective role. Clear or not?
Clear. Clear, sir.
If I'm applying using a single authorized attribute, multiple roles separated by comma means either one of the role is fine to access the action methods. If I'm applying multiple roles means the user must have both the role to access. Now let us proceed right with this authorized role admin. So if you look at my admin controller, right? So what this is my administrator controller, and this is right what my requirement is. So the user must have an admin role to access this action method. I don't want to give this. This is a very sensitive controller, managing the right, managing the user role, all these things. So what is my requirement? If the user have admin role, then he can only access the action method. No other user can access this. So what I need to do? I need to decorate this authorized attribute, and I need to specify admin role. Clear?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, all the action method within this controller is now accessible to only the admin user. Non-admin user or user having any other role other than admin, they cannot access, right? So that is what I have specified. But now to make you understand the role-based authentication, right? What I can do is I can modify the home controller and to show you this thing practically. Okay, let me go ahead. So this is my home controller class, you can see. So inside this home controller class, you can see I have applied this authorized role admin and the moderator. What exactly it means? It means either the role admin or moderator, they can access all the action method within this home controller. But now, if you look at this index action method, I have applied allow anonymous. So whenever I'm applying this allow anonymous, so what exactly this will do? This will override the right what authorized attribute you have specified at the controller level. So authorized attribute telling the user must be authenticated in order to access the resources. Allow anonymous attributes telling no, no, that is not true. So in this case, I'm giving you the permission, means I am giving you the permission that anyone can access. So authorize, it's giving, right, it is going to check the role-based authentication. Anonymous, it has a highest priority, or you can say more authority than this authorize attribute. So if I'm decorating allow anonymous with one action method, what it means? It means it will take the priority. Priority, it will take the priority means anyone can access, right? Whether the user is authenticated user or unauthorized user, right? That the user can access this action method. So now you can see I'm here decorating authorized attribute means this will take the priority, right? The role with the admin, they can only access this one. I have not decorated anything here means either the authorized attribute or moderator, they can take the priority. And this is allow anonymous means what? Only the anonymous user, they can take the priority. Clear? Otherwise,
Yes.
right, what I can do is, right, what I can do is I can decorate something like this, right? So here, anyone, right, admin or moderator, they can access, right? Okay, let me give this one also here. So this is what happening in this case, right? Admin or moderator, any, right? Any role can they can access. Okay, let me remove that from here. So in this case, only anyone, right? Allow anonymous means anyone authenticated and authorized user they can access. Secured method means the user having both admin and moderator role they can access. Privacy method means either the admin role or moderator role they can access. Right? And here I'm simply aligning the authorized attribute, right? So authorized attribute, so secured method, privacy method, right? And let's give this method name as private method, right? So in this case, right, the user doesn't matter what role he has, he can access this method. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Right? So in this case, this is going to be accessed by anyone, right? So anyone can access. Clear? This is going to be accessed by a user having, tell me, both admin and a, tell me, user having both admin and a moderator role. In this case, user having either admin or moderator role. Clear or not? Any authenticated user, they can access this action. Clear? Any authenticated user, they can access this action method. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right now. Now we have already this view. You can see index view, which is provided by framework by default. We have also this privacy view, which is provided by default. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this secured view as well as this private method view. Okay, let me add a view, reserve view. Secured method already exists. No. Okay, so secured method is also exist in our application. He is saying, let me go to view. Yes, this is my secured method, right? So this is a secured method, and this is going to private method. Add view. Okay. So this is private method. Clear? This is my private method. Now, now let me run the application and access these endpoints and see whether it is working fine or not. Okay, so before that, let me go to the layout page. So this is my home method, private method, secure method. These three methods are there. Now, along with these three methods, I also need to add another method, right? What is that method name? Private. Clear? And this private method can be accessible via this endpoint. Yes or no? Yes, tell me. So we are already provided this home private secured link. Now I have included this private link, right? So with these changes, run the application and see whether the authentication is working as expected or not. So currently I'm logging with Pranay Kumar 777, right? So Pranay Kumar 777. Now let me first, why I'm getting this error, access denied to this user, right? See this Pranay Kumar 777. Okay, login with the info user A P C T at the rate 1234. Okay, right now if you look at this, this admin user, admin is given to info one and info two. Currently, I'm logging with info user, right? So, and if you look at this moderator role, then info is also assigned with moderator. That means the user info currently having both info, I mean both admin and moderator role or not. So
Yes.
currently, whatever the user I'm logging, is that user having both the info and admin user, sorry, moderator and admin role?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can see this is moderator role and this info user is access, right? This is my admin role and this info user is also there, right? So as this user having both the resources as well as admin, now if I am going to access the admin controller, right, then it will give me access, right? So for example, currently I'm accessing this list of roles I'm getting now. Now if I'm accessing the privacy method, I'm accessing. Secured method, I'm accessing, right? Private method I'm accessing, non-secured method I'm getting some kind of error. Why I'm getting the error? Let us try to understand. The web page not found, right? So the web page not found. So in this case, so this index is not secured admin. Okay, so this non-secured method is replaced, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another method here, and that method name is going to be non-secure. Right? So this non-secure method is also there. Right? So this is how it is going to work. Okay, so here you can see private and non-secure. Anyone can access now. Now I'm going to log in with right what I can say. Okay, so before that, let me give you one more information. Right, what is the Pranay Kumar 777 user has access that role I need to check. Test the password test at the rate 1234 invalid login. Capital TEST at the rate 1234. What is that username?
ABCD.
Okay,
ABC.
ABCD, capital ABCD at the rate 1234. Okay, now if you look at this right moderator, so this moderator Pranay Kumar, you can see he doesn't have access to this moderator role, right? And if you look this admin, he doesn't have access, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give access, right, to this admin user. Okay, let me give this Pranay Kumar as access to this admin. Right, so now that's fine. So now you can see Pranay is having this admin role as well as right, but Pranay doesn't have this moderator role. Clear? Only one admin is given, but he doesn't have access to moderator. Right. So with these changes, if I log in as a right, if the user is logging with only right admin role, but he doesn't have the moderator role, he can access every method. But can he access this method?
No.
So now let me log in with Pranay. So capital A, B, C, D at the rate 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now here you can see home page, privacy page, secured method he cannot access. Why? Secured method, if you look at this, he is unable to access the secured method. Clear? Why he is unable to access? Because both roles are required. But now if you look at this privacy method, right, he is able to access. Why? Because anyone is fine. Already he is having this admin role, so he is able to access the same. Clear or no? Yes or no?
Clear, sir.
So now what I need to do is I need to show or hide menus based on the user role. Right? I need to show and hide menus based on the user role. So what exactly it means? Currently, if you look, all the menus are given and shown to everyone. But based on the user role, I need to show and hide the menus. If the user having XYZ role, then he can only able to see this menus. If he doesn't have this role, he should not right. We should not display that role to the user. That means how we can show and hide right menus based on the user role. That is what we need to know, right? So for this purpose, what I'm going to do is, first of all, we have already discussed that we can use this is sign-in method by passing the principal entity, and which is going to verify whether the user is logged in or not. Similar to this sign-in manager, which is to provide functionality for sign-in functionality or verifying whether the user is signed in or not. So this user object, what I'm using here, is enroll method is there, and here I need to pass admin. So exactly what exactly this statement is going to do? This statement is going to check whether the signed-in user is enroll admin or not. If the sign-in user is enroll admin, then you can display whatever the right menu items you want to display. For example, different user is there, user is there. So whatever, see here, this is the user and this is the role. So whether this particular user is in role user, if yes, then whatever the standard navigation menus you want to display, you can display. So based on the, first of all, you need to check the user must be signed in. Second, you need to check whether the user having this particular role or not. If based on this role, you need to show and hide the navigation menus, right? So let us try to understand, right, this example. So what we want to do? So this manage roles button, right, which is currently visible, right? You can see whenever the user logged in, it is visible to everyone, right? For example, I click on this. Currently, user is not logged in. So even though this list of roles is visible, right? Whenever I'm clicking on this, it is redirecting me to the login page. That's fine. But what is my requirement? My requirement is that if the user is not logged in, and if the user not belongs to the admin role, then I should not display this menu in the header. Getting my point, guys? If the
Yes.
user is not logged in and if the user doesn't have the role admin, then I don't want to display this list users menu in the UI. So that is what I want to do. Let us see how we can do this, right? For example, if any non-admin role user logged in, then in that case, right, he should not see this list manage roles link. So let us proceed and see how we can do this, right? So for this purpose, what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and modify the, okay. Now you can see what I have done here. Very simple. Okay. Now you can see. So this manage roles link I have provided right within a conditional statement. If the user is signed in, and if the signed in role is having the signed in user is having the role admin, then please go ahead and display this manage roles button. Clear? And then the rest of the things we have already discussed. If the user not signed in, right, if the user is signed in, then display this logout button with the name. If not signed in, then display the register and the login button. That is already provided. Now what we have done, we have added this additional conditional statement, which is going to display, right, which is going to display this manage roles link, which is going to open the list of roles page only when the user is signed in and the role is admin. Clear?
Yes.
Right? So that is what we need to do, right? So now let me run the application. Now, see, this sign in button is there. Sorry, the manage roles is option, manage role option is there.
No.
No. So you can say home is there, privacy secure, non-secure. So this thing is there, but that option is not there, right here, list out. Now you might have one question, sir. What is if I try to access that action method directly? For example, if you look at this, right? In this case, okay, let me log in as a user, right? Which user I'm going to log in? Okay, let me log in with the info user, capital ABCD at the rate 1234. And here you can see manage roles button is coming. Now, what I'm going to do, admin user, and currently these are the admin user. Let me remove this one from this list. Pranay Kumar 777. I have removed from admin user. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in with the Pranay Kumar 777. The password for this one is test, capital TEST at the rate 1234 and login. So once you can see, once I logged in and currently you can see that manage roles option is not possible, not visible. Now you might have one question, sir, what about if I try to write, if I directly write this administrator role in the URL, so you can see I'm getting this page right, that 404 resource not found, right? Access denied, right? You can see it is redirecting to something called access denied page. So why it is redirecting to this default access denied page and why I'm getting this error, let us try to option. And currently, if you see, so currently, if you see, this authorize attribute is there at the administrator controller. Yes or no? And this authorized attribute we have created with role-based authentication, and the role must be admin. If a user is a logged in user, and if the user having the admin role, then he can access the action method, right? Currently, in what I can see, currently I'm accessing this list of roles. So he can access. But the user is a logged in user, but the user doesn't have the admin role. Then in that case, if I'm trying to access any of this action method, then it is going to return me, right? In that case, the authorized attribute will redirect the user, right, by default to this access plus access denied page, account slash access denied. That is the default behavior. Now if you look at this, right, program class, right? Suppose I want to access any action method for which authentication is required. Then in that case, if I have not logged in, then automatically he will be redirected to this login account slash login by default. You can set this thing here, but automatically he is also right going to redirect. Similar to these things, right? So what I can see, options dot access denied path. So this access denied path, by default it is set, right? By default, the value for this access denied path is this one. What is the default value? The default value for this access denied path is this one. Means if I have not provided this access denied path, then by default if one action method required role-based authentication and the user doesn't have that specific role, in that case, automatically the framework will redirect the request to this access denied path. Clear?
Yes.
Right?
Hello, please
And
come. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
yes.
Please, can you come again with that line 40, Abby? Can you come again? I didn't get what you said. Can you come again in that line 40, line 40, line 40?
Yeah, that is what I'm explaining now. So you just tell me in this case, right? For example, the user is not logged in. If the user is not
Okay,
logged in and if he tried to access the secure method, then automatically the framework will redirect the user to the account/login page. Am I right? Because
okay,
this method require authentication and I have not yet logged in, so it will redirect me to the login page. Let's
okay,
assume the user is logged in. The user is logged in. So currently the user is logged in. So once the user is logged in, and if I try to access one secured page for which admin role is required. So in that case, right, the user is logged in. So once the user is logged in, does it make any sense to redirect to the login page? Because already logged in means, do I need to again redirect him to the login page? No, doesn't make any sense. But what is the reason in this case? In this case, what is the reason why I'm not getting the right output? The reason is, so to access this action method, first thing is the user logged in? Yes, the user is a authenticated user. So currently, whichever user is accessing this page, user is an authenticated user. But does that authenticated user have access to this action method based on the user role? No. Why? Because Pranay Kumar, whatever the user currently logged in, he doesn't have an admin role. As he doesn't have an admin role, means what? Means he doesn't have access or permission to access this resource. So whenever there is some issue related to access, right, related to permission, then what framework internally does is he internally redirect the request to this, right, account controller and access denied page. And how it is possible? Because the default value for this access denied is this one. The default value for access denied is this one. So if I do not specify this thing, then also it will redirect to this account controller access denied. This is the default behavior, or you can say the default value of access denied path. Now currently, okay, let me manually set this one. But currently, does we have any access denied action method within the account controller? So if you go to the account controller, does have any access denied action method? Tell
no,
me. Yes or
no,
no?
no,
So
no.
if your action method is not available, and or you can say if the resource is not available, and if you are trying to access that resource, then what kind of error you need to get? 404 resource not found, and that is what we are getting here.
Okay,
Clear, guys?
So,
yes,
sir,
sir.
it is looking into the accounts folder. So
Not accounts
whichever
folder. So this is
or account
account
controller.
controller access
Yes.
denied action method.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's every time like it will look into the account controller or
See,
why
whatever
it is
guys.
selecting.
So in this case, if the user doesn't have a permission to access one action method, in that case, it will look for, right? If you don't want account controller, right? For example, I'm having this administrator controller. Now I want to redirect it to the access denied page of an admin controller. That's what I can do. So in that case, what I need to do. So let me go ahead. See, by default, it is looking. So, but if you want, you can change. For
No, no,
example,
no. Means it is
I
looking for
want
the accounts only, right? So it is not.
See, what I'm saying, by default, it is looking for account to controller access denied. That is the default value. Okay, you can change this one by overriding this property value.
Okay.
So, for example, by default, it is account controller access denied, right? For example, this one. So, I don't want to create this access denied in account controller. I want to create this in XYZ controller. It's fine. You need one access method within one controller, and that path you need to provide here. That's it. If you don't want to go with the default. The default is this one. If I do not specify this statement also, then it is going to work and it is going to look for the access denied right action method within the account controller. If you want, you can specify the same thing manually. If you want, you can specify a different path. For example, I don't want to give this action name as a access denied. Rather than I'm going to give only denied. That's fine. What is important, whatever I have path I'm providing here, that must be exist in your application. If this path is not exist, then you will get this 404 error. Clear? Any. So what you need to do, you need to provide one path which is going to be displayed when there is no right access to access a resource in that case. Clear? Clear or
Yes.
not?
Yes, sir, clear.
Right?
Yes, sir, clear.
And we need to follow the industry standard. Right? The industry standard say go with the account and access denied. So next what we need to do guys, we need to create this access denied action method within the account controller, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to the account controller. This is my account controller, and this account controller, this is my action method. And here I'm decorating this with the allow anonymous. So what do you mean by allow anonymous? Allow anonymous means, right, anyone can access, right? Authentication and authorization is not required. Anyone can access this page, right? Next, what I need to do, I need to create a view which should display access denied page, right? So let me go ahead. Okay. So this is my view. So here, what I'm saying, access denied, you do not have permission, and one access denied image I'm displaying. And this image, right, you can see any static content, this should comes from your, right, which folder? www root folder. So within this folder, I have created one image. And within this image, I'm going to add this access denied .png image. Right. So this is my access denied .png. I just copy and I just paste it here. So this image I have provided here, that image path I have provided here. Now run the application and try to access, right, and see whether you are getting the issue. So yes, we are getting this because we need to provide this in first slash symbol. The value must be start with this one. This is the syntax, right? So now run the application. Okay, the user is logged in. And now I'm trying to access this administrator slash URL. So directly I'm trying. So I'm getting this page. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Right. So
Yes,
this
sir.
is how you can implement access denied functionality in your application. Clear, guys? Or anyone having any question?
Clear.
Right. So this is what you need to provide. Okay. And this is the default value. Yeah. Right. Next, what we need to do, what we need to discuss is, okay, how to display all users, right? So now what I need to do, right? Currently, you can see I'm having, right? Currently, I'm having, okay, let me give this one capital A, B, C, D, up to 4, 2, 3, 4, right? So currently, you can see I'm having this manage roles function page where we are managing all the roles. We are right removing, adding the role, updating the role, deleting the role, assigning users to role. So this functionality we have provided. Now the same set of functionality I want to provide for the roles, right? So user they can be created independently, but if you are working with any company, right, for any organization, that the admin or you can say HR team, they are going to create the employees, right? So let us try to understand how these things can happen, right? So what we need to do is, right, we need to create a page where we need to display all the users. Similar to the role space, right? I want to display the page something like this, where I want to provide the options to create a new user by the admin. So here the admin can create the user. whatever the list of users, that list of user I want to display, right? Also, I want to provide the options to edit the user as well as delete the user. And in the edit user page, right, what I want to do, I want to give that options to add or remove roles, right? One user, right, not only you can manage the role and user relationship from the roles page, but also user role manage relationship, we can also, right, going to manage from the user update screen, right? How to do this, we will see practically. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I need to give a what I can say method, which is going to give the list of a role. So in this case also, I'm going to use administrator controller because that role and right, this is related to management. So management means I need to use administrator controller. So in this case, this is my user manager service. And this user manager service similar to roles, which is going to return the list of roles. So this user's property, it is going to give me the list of users. And as it is a database operation, so what I can do is I can make use of this list async method. And to improve the performance, what I can do here is I can make use as no tracking. Clear, guys? So what is the benefit of using as no tracking? Can anybody tell me? Guys, tell me. What is the use of using this as no tracking?
It will not
It
track the
will it,
entity.
So in
it
this
will
case,
return
for
all
what
that,
purpose?
guys.
In this case, for what purpose we are retrieving the data? Only displaying purpose, or here, right, within this user's entity,
For
am
only
I doing
display.
any kind of,
Only display.
yes. So whenever your data is for read-only purpose, you have to use as no tracking. So this will improve your application performance. Guys, they see those who are attending the live session, they will get these things. But whatever code I have provided, right, in the documentation, these things are not available. That what you need to remember. So always that is the reason why always I'm saying please attend the live sessions, right? For example, whatever the explanation I have provided here, this is only available in the live session, not on the documentation. Right, that is what you need to remember, and always try to attend because see, I'm not going to prepare the documentation, right? You see, right, documentation is fine, but whenever I'm going to explain the session, live session examples, at that time I can do more, right, changes, right, some kind of researches, right? How you can improve the performance, what is the issue with that code, right? This thing I can provide only you in the live session. Everything is not possible to put in the documentation, and that is the reason why I'm saying again and again, please try to attend the live session. Live session is more interactive and right, you will get something new definitely. So in this case, as no tracking, definitely it is going to give you better performance. So I have access all the users. So this user's deficit property, it is going to give me all the users and that users I'm passing to the view. Next, what I need to do, guys, I need to create the view where I need to display the list of a user. Okay, let me go ahead. Okay, so this is my page and it's very simple, right? So what I'm doing here, you can check. This is my add new user button. On the top of the button, I have provided options to create a new user. And if you guys, if you know which action method of account controller is going to create a new user, guys, which one is going to
Register.
provide to
Register,
create
register.
register? And this register method belongs to which controller? Account controller, right?
Account,
Account.
account.
That is the reason why you can see whenever the user or the logged in user click on this add new user button, it will redirect you to the account controller registered action method, right? By default, I have not specified method as get or post. So in this case, it will be redirected to the get version, right? So now in this case, you can see my right model for this is application user. Why I'm using application user instead of identity user? Can anybody tell me?
Because the class has inherited from identity. Has
Yes,
inherited from identity.
because we have extended the identity user class, right? Currently, we are using this application user. That is the reason why we are using application user instead of a identity user. So, and in this case, this is a enumerable, or you can say if you are not sure, so you can also go with the list, right? So list of user. So what I'm doing here, I'm looking through all the user collection. One by one, I'm accessing their ID and accessing their username, right? And here I'm displaying two button. One is edit button, another one is what I can say delete button, right? So instead of a username, right, if you want to display the first name and last name, that is also possible. For example, let me give this as right user dot first name and at the rate user dot last name. That what you can also provide. Right? If you want to write display the username along with the username, if you want to display the first name and the last name, because this will we are also additionally storing into the database, right? So this is my edit page, this is my delete page, and guys remember, right? If there are many users, do you know how to implement the pagination? Are we discuss how to implement a pagination in our application with such functionality? Yes or no? Guys, tell me. Did we discussed anything related to paginations? Whenever we
No.
discuss, right, library management, employee portal, those real-time applications, whenever we discussed, at that time, am I discussed how to implement pagination? Yes or
Yes,
no?
yes, we have.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
yes.
sir.
Right, so this thing, if you want, you can enhance here. Right, suppose many users are there, showing all the user in a single page doesn't make any sense. So you can implement pagination in this case also. Right. So if no user have yet added, right, then you need to display this no users added yet option, right, which is not ideally come in this case because we have added few users, right? So this is my page, which is going to display this thing, right? So now what I want to do is I want to create a manage drop-down list, and inside this manage drop-down list, I want to show two options. One is user, another one is roles. So for this option, let me go ahead. Where I need to do these changes, guys? In the
Layout page.
The
The layout
layout.
pages.
yeah layout. Okay. So let me go ahead and change this thing. Okay, go to the layout page. Okay. So in this case, you can see I have created one drop-down list, and inside this drop-down list, I have created two anchor elements, right? One is representing the users, and another one is representing the roles. When you click on the users button, it will be redirected to the list users action method of administrator controller, and when you click on the roles, it will be redirected to list roles of the administrator control. And these two action methods we have already created inside our administrator controller. So this is list users and this is my list roles, right? And again, you can see, so this page, what I have created here, it is only going to be visible to the logged in user having the admin role. So that is what I have done the changes. Now what we need to do? So this is fine. Now run the application and you should see the things as expected. So logged in user is info, and here you can see manage button is there. Here you can see user and the role option is there. Roles means you will see the list of roles, right, how you are managing. And here you can see user means this is the list of users page it is displaying, right? That is what you can see now. Now what I want to do is, so here you can observe one thing, right? That first name and last name is not coming. first name and last name is not displaying. Why? Let us try to understand. In the list users page, I have already provided this first name and last name title, but these things are not displaying here. Why? The last name and the first name are null, right? So which user is having the first name and last name? Let us try to observe because we have created right
Allowed.
many users which initially they do not have the first name and last name. So this Pranay Raut user is having the first name and the last name, right? Let us try to observe whether that yes, you can see Pranay Raut user is having the name. Other user they don't have displaying this thing because when we created at that time we have not included this first name and last name column. I will also provide you the screen how you can update this information in some time, right? So that is fine. It is working as expected. Right? So here you can see update button. When I'm going to update, I can update the first name and the last name as well, right? And in this case, you can see only the link is visible to the user which is having the admin role. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes. Now what I want to do is when the user is logged in, when the admin user logged in, and once he clicked on this button, right? So once the user is created, right? You can see first name, last name, email, password, and confirm password. So in this case, right, as the user is created by a admin. So after creation of this user, to which page I need to redirect? Do I need to redirect to this home page or do I need to redirect it to this users, what I can say, list of users page? Which page to be redirected? If it is a normal user who is creating himself, then in that case, redirecting to the home page is fine. But if the user is created by the admin, so in this case, particularly the admin user is logged in, and if the admin creating the user, then which page I need to redirect? I should redirect to this list of the users page. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So how we can do this? So where I need to check to make the changes? Where I need to check the make the changes? Guys, tell me. In which method? Okay, you just tell me which method is handling the user creation functionality.
Register methods.
Register.
Register this method, right? So this registered method is handling the user creation functionality, right? So what I need to do? So in this case, right, before redirecting, right, right, what I can say. So, so in this case, what I need to do, I need to check, right? I need to check whether the user is signed in. So which method is used for is signed in? So this is my sign in manager dot use signed in method. So what I need to pass here, the user principal object, and where is the and operator? This is my and operator, and let's tell me user dot is in role. What role? Let's tell me
Admin.
Admin.
admin,
Admin.
admin. So if the user is signed in and if the role is admin, then guys tell me to which page I need to redirect.
List
I
page.
need to redirect it to the administrator controller, right? And what should be the action method name? List of users. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
If the user
Yes,
is
sir.
signed and if the user role is admin, once the user is created, then I need to redirect the user to the administrator controller list user page. Otherwise, whatever the way it is working, right? I need to sign in the user. I need to redirect to the home controller of the index action method. That normal flow will be going on. But if the user is being created by the admin user, then I need to redirect to this page. Clear? Yes or no?
Clear, sir.
I want this action
Yes, sir.
method to be accessible by everyone. So if you want this action method to be accessible by everyone, right? Because whether the user is signed in, logged in, admin, right? This registered method must be accessible to everyone, right? So what I can do is I can apply this allow anonymous, right? So with these changes, let us try to create a user by the admin and see whether it is working fine or not. So info user is there, manage user option is there, add a new user. Let me give this username as a test. Last name is test. Email is test at the rate gmail.com. Test at the rate example.com. Password is capital A B C D at the rate 1234. Confirm password is capital A B C D at the rate 1234 and then register. So am I redirected to this page? Yes. That means now this functionality is working, right? Yes or no? How to display all user and how to
Yes.
create a user, right, by the admin. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to extend the edit and the delete functionality. And guys, remember, if you want to implement, right, forget about this thing. If you want to implement the edit functionality, then what you need to do? First of all, you need to retrieve the user which you want to edit. Then you need to update the properties, which properties you want to make changes, right? Which properties you want to update into the database. Those properties we need to change. Then you need to validate the changes because in this case, let assume I retrieve the data from the UI, sorry, from the database, and I provide this data to the UI, right? In the UI, the user is going to update the properties, first name, last name, whatever changes he want to do, he will do. And once the changes are done, then he will submit the changes to one of the post action method. Within the post action method, first of all, we need to do what? We need to validate the changes. What validate the changes means it should right, it should be within the validation of our business requirement. For example, first name, last name, whatever min length, max length, whatever the password policy, email should be unique, right? So whatever changes, right, whatever the requirement for the validation, everything you need to do. And once the validation is successful, then what you need to do, we need to update the data into the database, right? And for that purpose, we can make use of update async method. And once the update operation is completed, then you need to check the result, right? What result means whether the operation is successfully executed on the database or not. If successful updated, that's fine. If not, why it is failed, that error information we need to display. Clear? So this is how we need to provide, right, what I can say, edit functionality in our application. Clear or not?
Clear.
Clear, sir.
Right. Now what I need to do, I need to provide this edit button is already there. So once I click on this edit button, so whatever the user ID that I will take and I will redirect it to one action method where it will retrieve the data from the database and what I can say, it is going to display the data, right? For now, right, for now what I need to do, so in the edit in the list of users action method, I need to redirect to this administrator user ID and the user ID action method, right? So for that purpose, what I need to do, right, guys, tell me. So this is my list of users. So if this is my list of users, right, so whenever the user click on this button, I need to redirect it to one action method called edit user. I will create this edit user, right? And this action method is going to be inside which controller, guys? Guys, tell me. It is
Administrator.
going to be inside
Admin.
the administrator controller, right? And it should take some route data. What should be the route parameter, guys? User ID. And this value I'm going to get from where? At the rate user.id. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is there any question related to this ASP action, ASP controller? What is this user ID? Clear or not?
Clear.
Right? Similarly, I'm going to also provide some delete functionality. And when I am going to provide the delete functionality, at that time I will display this thing. For now, it is going to be edit user action method of administrator controller. And the parameter of this action method is going to be user ID. So let us proceed and create this action method, right? And for this edit functionality, right, what I'm going to do, right, for this, in this case, this edit user, it wants to provide a view, right, where it will update the data. So for sending the data from controller action method to the view, we need one model or not, where it will hold the user ID, user name, first name, last
Yes,
name. Those information we need. So for that purpose, what
yes.
I'm going to do, I'm going to create a view model. See, in this case, you can see, I'm going to create a view
Administrator control.
model for editing the user. So the name I'm going to give is as edit user view model. Edit user view model. So this is my edit user view model. Let me go ahead and create this one. So for time being, what I'm doing here, right? So see guys, remember, this is my constructor, right? Okay, so what I'm doing here, new list of string, I have initialized. Here also I initialized. So instead of using constructor, right? I have initialized. So guys, remember, currently you can see this is the user ID, this is the user name, this is the user email address, right? This is this user email address, username, both are going to be same. This is my first name, this is my last name, right? And here, this claim-based authentication we have not yet implemented. We have implemented the role-based authentication. So one user can have multiple roles or one role.
Multiple
Yes.
roles.
So for the time being, let me remove this claims, right? I have not implemented this claims I have yet. So I just removed that. So now one user can be assigned with multiple roles. So whatever roles are assigned to a particular user, holding those roles for the displaying purpose, I'm using this one. Roles fields, right? Where it will display all the roles, whatever assigned to a particular user. So username and email in our case both are going to be same. First name we are taking, last name we are taking, and these are optional field because whenever we created, they right initially these two fields are not there in the database, so they are holding non-value. So that is the reason why I'm making this as a nullable type. That's fine. So this is my list of roles. So we have created the edit user view model, but in this case, right, you can see I'm adding this claim, you have to ignore this one, right? Ignore this one means later, right? Once this role-based authentication is completed, I'm also going to discuss what is claim-based authentication. At the time, whatever claims are associated with the user, those claims I want to show. So that's fine. Now what I need to do is I need to create one action method which is going to retrieve the data, populate the view model, and pass this view model to the right corresponding view. So let me go ahead and create the action method. And this is the get version of the action method, which is taking the user ID. And this user ID nothing but the user column ID. So this user ID, whatever the property name I have specified here, parameter name, that name must be same here. Otherwise, that data will not be mapped. So once I got this, first of all, what I need to do, first I need to check whether this user ID is exist in the database or not. If it is not exist, I need to redirect to this not found error view. If it exists, then what I need to do, I need to retrieve the associated claims. So currently, you can see the claims are not available. So I can simply remove this claim section. So what I'm doing here, I'm retrieving all the user roles and I'm assigning that roles to this roles collection and this ID, email, username, first name, right? Whatever I retrieved from the database, that what I have set. And here user manager dot get role async method I'm calling by passing this user object. And this method is going to retrieve me all the roles which are associated with this particular role. That is going to be list of roles. And that list of roles I'm assigning to this roles collection, which we have already created in our model, right? So inside this model. So that's it. And finally, we are passing this model to the corresponding view, right? So next, what I need to do, I need to create the edit user view. Let me go ahead and create the view. So this is going to my edit user view, right? And the view, what I want is something like this. So whatever the properties you want to update, email, username, first name and last name. Generally, email and username are going to be same, first name and last name. And here update and cancel button, using which right you can update and cancel the things. And user role section is there where it is going to display all the user roles. User claims, it is going to be empty because we have not yet implemented the claim section. I'm going to remove this user claim section for time being, right? So once the view is created, let me go ahead and right, copy paste this code. So view is created. So let me first remove this claim section, which is not required at this point of time because I don't want you guys to be confused, right? So this is my user role. So you can see view model, that is going to be the model, whatever the ID, email, username I'm displaying, right? First name and last name I'm displaying. I'm going to show all the validation error messages, right? And this is my two buttons. One is update button, another one is cancel button. Once you can click on the cancel button, it will be redirected to which controller, list role, list action method, list user of which controller, guys? Administrator controller. That always please give the right, what I can say, both action method name and controller name. And when you click on this update button, then it will submit the data, right? It will submit the data to which controller, guys? Which action method? The action method name is going to be edit user, the same name what I have provided here. Edit user, the action method name is going to be edit user. The controller name is going to be, right, that administrator controller, that name. Guys, why I'm not providing this thing? Because I want you to manage this thing. You know how to handle this thing. So that is the reason why these things are not available in the documentation, but you can create. This is not a big thing, right? So when we click on this update button, it will submit the data to the edit user post action method of administrator controller. And here you can see this is my roles section where it is going to check all the roles. If at least one role is available, what is that role name? If none, then this is going to be provided none at the moment. And here also we are provided one link for managing the role. So how to manage the role, that what we will discuss in the next part. Right. For now, let us try to see whether this update functionality is working. Now once the data is submitted, that data is going to be managed by the post action method, which we have not yet created. So let me go ahead and create the post action method, right? So for this purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one. So, and it's very simple, right? First of all, what about the model ID? We need to check whether that is exist or not. If it not exist, not found. If it exist, then whatever the model data we are receiving, that what we are going to update with this user, email, username, first name, last name, and all these things, right? And finally, we are providing this data to this update async method using user manager. So it is going to update the user. If the operation is successful, then what I need to do, I need to redirect it to the list users action method. And here also you can specify what is the controller name. Generally, always, I generally prefer this approach. So you also right, prefer the same approach. So provide the not only the controller action method name, also provide the controller name. If any error are there, we need to provide the validation error messages, whatever the error description, and we need to stay in the same view. Right. So that is what we have done. Now let us try to run the functionality and see whether it is working fine or not. Right. So this is the user is automatically logged in. Right. So and in this case, So why it is automatically logged in? That what I need to check. So where is the login action method of an account controller? So this is register. This is login action method. So this is password sign in async. Remember me. So I'm passing remember me false. Then why it is let me check one more time what value actually I'm getting for the remember me button. So info A B C D at the rate 1 2 3 4. I'm not checking this one. Remember me false. False means yes. Okay. Might be because of the caching. Let it be there. Okay, fine. So now we want to manage the user. You can see this is my user options. Any user you want to update, I want to update. For example, I want to update this one. Okay, let me give some name, right? Let me give some name, Rakesh Kumar. And this user is assigned with how many roles? That list of roles is also displaying here. Now I update and you can see Rakesh Kumar is there updated. Clear or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is how you can update the user. Any question, guys? How to update the user with ASP.NET Core identity? For this purpose, you need to follow this steps. So you need to fetch the user, update the properties, validate the data, then update the data right back into the database. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Next, what we are going to discuss, how to delete the user. The same concept. First of all, we need to find the user. Then we need to delete the user if it is available, and then we need to handle the result. That is whether the delete operation is successfully completed or not. On the same identity class, right? User list of user page. You can see we are having this delete button. And once you click on the delete button, it is going to give a confirmation message, right? Are you sure you want to delete? Similar to the role space, what we have discussed, right? And once you click on the CS button, it is going to delete the user. If you click no, then it will stay in the same page. So by default, there are two sections, and one section is going to be hide, and another one is going to be visible, right? Similarly, right, what I can say, if you look at this manage roles option, so how it is working, the same way, right, it is also going to work, right? So currently, you can see nothing is happening because we have not yet provided the functionality, right? So let us proceed and see how we can implement this thing. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Right. So let us proceed and see how we can do this. So for this purpose, let me first modify the list of users view. And the same logic, I have already discussed this span logic. No need to explain again. So anytime, right, based on the value what we passed here, it is going to hide or show one of the span element, right? And here you can see this is one form I have created. And when I click on the submit button, it will redirect, right, submit the data to the delete user action method of administrator controller, right? So delete user action method and of administrator controller. Okay, let me also provide the controller name here. The controller name is going to be delete user. So this is the add button. When you click, it will redirect it to this action method of this controller. But this is a form. So when you click on this submit button, I mean yes button, it will submit the data to the delete user action method of administrator controller by passing this user ID as a parameter. So next what I need to do is I need to create the delete user post action method, which is going to delete the data, right? So let me go to the administrator controller. So till now we have discussed. So now it is going to delete the data. So in this case, it's very simple. First find the user, check whether user is available or not. If available, that's in that case, right? So we need to call this delete async method of a user manager. See, guys, remember fundamental thing you have to remember. For creating a user, create async. For updating the user, update async. For deleting the user, delete async. Similar to our role. For creating a role, you have to use you create async. For updating the role, update async. For deleting the role, delete async. But what is important? Important is which manager you are using. If you are using a user manager, then it is going to do the operation on the ASP.NET users table. If you are calling this on the right role manager, then it is going to perform the operation on ASP.NET roles table. That is what you need to remember. Otherwise, the method name is going to be same. If the operation is successful, then what I need to do, I need to redirect the user back to this what I can say, the administrator controller and list users page once the operation is completed. Otherwise, will display this error message, right? So let me go ahead and see whether it is working fine or not. So this is my role space, manage roles, not roles. I want to manage users. So currently you can see the text user is there. So here you can see once I click no, then nothing is happening. Once I click yes, it is going to be deleted from the database, right? So you can see that user is being deleted. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, right, guys, remember what I want to do is I want to enforce on delete no action. Means what? Means if what exactly it means? It means if any user is associated with some role. For example, currently you can see these are the right roles. So these are the roles which is associated with the user. So now, what is my requirement? If this user is given to one, right? If this role is given to one user, or then in that case, I cannot delete this role until this role is being accessed by any user. So basically, what exactly it means? It means if the parent entity is referred by some child entities, then I cannot delete the parent entity itself. But by default, what exactly it is doing? It is by default it is going to delete. For example, if you look at the which table is managing the user and role connection, which table is managing the many-to-many relationship between user and roles? Just tell me.
ASP.NET user roles.
Yes, this is the table which is managing the user roles data, right? Whichever user is having whichever role, that collection it is managing. Now, if you open the create table statement, then you will see by default it is implementing cascade delete behavior. So by default, it is implementing on delete cascade. On delete cascade. So what do you mean by on delete cascade? On delete cascade means if the parent entity is deleted, the corresponding child entity is also going to be deleted. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Now between these roles and users table, you just tell me if the role is deleted, do I need to delete the user?
No, sir.
No. But so similarly, if the user is deleted, do I need to delete the corresponding roles?
No.
Right. So, but what is our requirement? So in this case, whatever the functionality he is implementing on delete cascade means what? Whenever the role is deleted, the corresponding data is going to be deleted from this table. That's fine. So in this case, what exactly he is doing? Now, whenever the user is deleted, the corresponding entries are going to be deleted from this ASP.NET users roles table. And it makes sense. Why? Because if the user is deleted, what is the meaning of putting, right, keeping those record in the ASP.NET users table? If the role is deleted, then what is the meaning of keeping that, right, keeping the information whichever user are associated with that role in the ASP.NET user roles table? Doesn't make any sense, right? So that is the reason why by default he is using on delete cascade on inside this ASP.NET user roles table. Means what? It means, right, if you look at the relationship, right, what it means whenever I'm deleting a role, then associated entries from this table is going to be deleted. Similarly, when I deleted a user, the associated entries are going to be deleted from this table. That makes sense. And that is the reason why he has provided this on delete cascade options. Clear? So in this case, if I delete a role, then the corresponding entries from this table is going to be deleted. And if I'm deleting a user, the corresponding entry from this ASP.NET users table is going to be deleted. And that is possible because of this on delete cascade. So on delete cascade saying that whenever the parent entity is deleted, the corresponding child entries are also going to be deleted from the right dependency table. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So now what I want to do is, now what I want to is, I want to enforce on delete no action. So on delete no action means what? Means I don't want to delete the parent entity if it is referred by the child entities, right? If any of the child entity by referring to the parent entity, then in that case, I should not want to delete. For example, we do not want to delete, allow the role to be deleted from the ASP.NET roles table if it is referred by the parent table. Means what? Means if you suppose admin role is there, right? For example, in this case, to make you understand what I'm saying, if admin role is there, so in this table, admin role is there, and that the admin role is referred by multiple user, right? And that the information we are storing inside this ASP.NET users table. So what is my requirement, or what is our requirement? We should not allow to delete the admin role if it is referred by any user inside this ASP.NET users table. Getting my right? What I'm trying to make you understand, who is on mute, guys? Right? So basically, what is my requirement? My requirement is I should not allow any roles to be deleted if it is referred by anyone, right? Any user within this ASP.NET users table. But now, if you look at this undelete cascade option means it is allowing you to delete the user. So once the role is deleted, the corresponding entries are also going to be deleted from this table. But what my requirement? Now, if this role is referred by any user, I mean, there is some entry inside this ASP.NET users table, the role is not allowed to be deleted. And for that purpose, what I need to do is I need to use on delete no action. No action. On delete no action means if the role is not referred by anyone, then that you can delete that role. If that role is referred by someone, then you cannot delete that role. That is the meaning of on delete no action. So how we can set this default behavior? Let us try to understand. So guys, remember, right, where we need to do such configurations. If you want to provide the cascade deleting behavior for one entity or all entities, then this configuration you need to provide within DB context class only by overriding the on model creating method. So which one is my DB context class? This is my DB context class. So within this class, right, what I need to do, I need to set that identity role. The foreign key is going to be string. So here, right, you know how to implement one-to-many relationship, guys?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So in this case, each user has right each
Multiple
role,
users. Each
right
rule have multiple users.
right. So application role. So here what I'm doing, I'm configuring that identity user, configuring with many relationship, and here what I'm providing no action, right? So basically, whenever you are going to delete some role, application role, that role is not going to be deleted because in this case I'm applying no action, and the role is not going to be deleted from this application code. So let us try to build this one and right see. And once you make these changes, once otherwise what you can do is you can fit behavior, right? So in this case, what will happen? In this case, what will happen? In this case, it is going to make sure that all the foreign keys are going to be created with the on delete no action. Right? We have already discussed these things many times, so I don't want to discuss this has one with one has foreign key, right? So this is not the time to discuss because we have already discussed this thing. I have already shown you two different approaches. One is by specifying any individual entity. Another one is right by specifying the common. So this is global configuration. This is entity configuration. So whichever approach you like, you can go. Let me go with this approach. So let me write comment this statement. So anytime any modification you make changes, right? What you need to do, you need to generate the migration file. So currently, how many migration files are generated? MIG3. So what I need to do, I need to generate the next migration. Any name you can give, which not be provided earlier. MIG4 I'm giving this time. Yes, I want to stop debugging. Okay. Then I need to update the database. Update. Yes, that's fine. Now check this table and see. You should see one is going to be no action, another one is going to be on delete. Right? So you can see on delete option is there, but here there is no on delete options. By default, it is no action, and here it is explicitly on delete. Right? So that means whatever changes we have done, that is working as expected. Now with these changes, right? Let me try to delete a role. So currently, let me run the application, right? Go to roles connection, right? You can see this is one user role, and this role is already right assigned with how many users? This role is provided to 4 users, right? So let me try to delete this one. And once I try to delete this one, right? See what I'm getting. I'm getting this error page. And this is saying that there is some foreign key, right? Constant validation error. So you just tell me in production environment, showing this error message does make sense.
Doesn't make
No.
sense.
No.
Also, why sir? In your development mission, that's fine. You can easily identify that delete statement conflicts with the reference key constant and in which database and in which table and for which column. That's fine. But the thing is that, right, if I should not expose this thing on the production environment, right? So let us see how we can do this thing. So for this purpose, what I'm going to do, right? Okay, you just tell me which method is right handling the delete operation. Delete role is being handled by this delete role method. Yes or no? Yes or no? So
Yes.
whenever I'm deleting the role, this post action method is handling this functionality. So what I need to do is, right, if there is some issue, right, with the deletion operation, then I need to redirect it to some right pages. Let us try to understand how we can do this. So this is the delete action method, which is handling the delete operations, right? So I think I have not, right? And why I'm getting this error? Because am I handle the error here? Whenever the database operation is performing, am I write any try catch block in this case?
No, sir.
No.
No, that is the reason why I'm getting this unhandled exception, right? So now what I'm going to do is I want to handle the error in a better manner. And this error handler, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a controller. Let's say that is error controller. So this is my error controller. I'm going to create a controller, MVC empty controller. The controller name is going to be error controller. And inside this controller, I'm going to create one action method. So this is my error handler controller. So this is my return view, right? And the URL is this one. Anyone can access this one. If you want to implement logger.log, wherever you want to log the error messages, that what you can also log using this one. So we have already discussed how to implement different types of logging. So next what I need to do, I need to create the error view, right? So what I'm going to do, so let me go ahead and add the error view. So this is my error view, right? So this is my error view. So basically you can see this is my error view. This is the page which is going to be displayed when there is some unhandled exception. Next, what we need to do, right? And to handle the error, right, what I can do is I can make use of, right, huge exception handler. So currently, if you go to the program that says class file, what we have done here, now if the environment is development, right, not development, okay, so what I can do is, so okay, let me simplify this thing. So what exactly I'm doing here, let us try to observe. So if the environment is a development, I want to show that developer exception page, which is currently showing. Otherwise, right, it is redirecting to the error controller. So, right, error controller means this is the route which is going to be executed. So this is I can access using the slash error, that URL, right, that what I'm providing here, right. Right, if environment is development, that exception details page it is going to display, and other than development it is going to display the error page, right, whichever page you want to execute, that the URL you need to pass, I mean the red path, in this case the path is this one. So with these changes, let me go ahead and run the application and see whether it is executing the things as expected or not. Suppose this is my roles page and this is my user role, I'm trying to delete, and this is my exception page, that's fine. Right? So again, I'm getting this role. Why I'm getting this role? Yes. Why I'm getting this? I'm not getting the red error page. Can anybody tell me what is the reason? The reason is on which environment we are running the application.
We are working on production, but here is development.
We
So
are we
that's
are
why.
working with a development environment, and in development environment,
Yes.
this is going to be handled, right? So
Yes.
what I can do is I can go to the properties folder, launch settings.json file. So let me set this as a production. PRODUCTION. Let assume this is the production environment, and let me set this one also. And now run one more time. What is this? In production environment, it is not working.
Sir, app setting.json file.
Oh, sorry.
Sir, you are specifying in launch setting files.
Yeah, launch settings is required, na?
Sir, but production environment launch setting file is not considered.
So, so this is right. I think your basic is not clear, right? So this is only for the development environment, right? And we are running the application in development environment, right? So why the CSS are not working? That's what I need to check. Okay. Okay. So let me do other thing. Okay. Let me put this as a development. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in another way. So what is the another way? The another way is if the environment is development, not development, in the development environment, we want to display this error message. Okay. So let me run the application, right? So now let me go to the role space and delete this role. That's fine. Yeah. You can see this error message is coming now. Clear? Now, but you just tell me, is this error message, right? This is a generic error message. But does this error message specify any information that you cannot delete this role? Any specific message? Is it
No.
specifying? Yes or no? Yes or
No.
no?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
So what exactly I want to do is, right, again, why the color is not coming. So if you go to the right error, right, so what I can say, last equals to text. So this is going to display the message in red color, right? That's fine. So what we want is, so instead of displaying this error message, I want to display this. Admin role is in use. Admin role cannot be deleted. Whichever role you are going to delete, as there are users. If you want to delete, please remove the users from this role and then try to delete. So how we can handle this? So to do this, right, what I need to do, I need to capture the exception, right? For example, what I need to do. So if that is your requirement, right, then in that case, what you need to do, just to put this thing, right? So this code within a try catch block. Just put this code within a right a try catch block. So this is my try block. I have executed, and whenever I'm executing, if I'm getting some DP update exception, so this is going to be DP update exception. So in the case of a DP update exception, what I need to do, I need to write this thing, right? Any exception you got, right? So let me store this one. So whatever the exception message I'm storing inside this error property, right? And whatever the role means, okay, let me first, let me put this outside the try catch block, because this is not going to throw any exception. Whichever statement going to throw me exception, this one. So what I'm showing here, right? View back that error message, error title, name, error message, this one, right? See whatever message I want to display, that what I have provided here, and I'm rendering the error view, right? So this error view means you can see this is my error page which is there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this thing. So this is my error page. So which is there inside my shared folder. What I'm doing here, I'm specifying if error title is there, right? Give back that error title is equals to null, then don't do anything. Otherwise, right, it display this thing. Otherwise, it show this generic. So means what? So whatever the error title and error message we have set here, if this is null, then in that case, I'm going to display this generic error message. Otherwise, right, if this is not null, means some data is there in the error title, I'm going to display such messages. Now, in this case, this view back dot error message, what I'm doing here, you can log this message anywhere, right? Anywhere you want to log the error message, that what you can log, right? So this is not right. Currently, you can see. So you can log something this one. So wherever you want to log this error message, you can log. So with these changes, let me run the application and see whether this time it is handling the exception and showing a generic rather than generic error message page, it is giving me a specific error page or not. So I'm going to delete this one. Clear?
Yes.
Right. So this is how you can implement. Anyone having any question, guys?
No, sir.
Are you guys getting the identity concept or not? How it is working? What are the things we need to do? Right? Right. So if they say expert session means what, right? We are going to discuss those things, right, with the tokens and all these things. And I don't think, right, I have already discussed how to expert the session, right? That concept is very, right, not that difficult, right? What I can say, we have already discussed session and cookies, right? I don't want to discuss again session and cookies. Yes, am I discussed what is session and what is cookies, how they are working in web application, which header is being used, how the server set the session, how the right client browser capture the session, how it is going to reset the session and cookies in subsequent request, right? So those things I have already discussed, and doesn't make any sense to handle. Yes, expired session in the sense here we are having, right, whenever we are working with this application, we are having two types of sessions. One is what I can say, right, persistent. Another one is non-persistent. Persistent means what? right? It will be stay in the web browser once you close the browser. And the non-persistent means once you close that session is going to be deleted. And that is what you can manage, right? By using, right? What I can say by using that third parameter, right? In the registration controller, you can see this is the method which I'm using. And this remember me functionality is going to handle this thing, right? Otherwise, how sessions or cookies are working, we have already discussed, no need to discuss again. Anyone having any question, guys? Clear?
Yes.
Right. Micah, did you attend my session when I have discussed session and cookies?
I studied the document.
So if you have attended, that's fine. Otherwise, right, just go ahead and watch those sessions. We have already discussed, right? What
Okay.
is session, what is cookies? What is the difference between session and cookies? How they are working internally? Where the data is stored in the case of session? Where the data is stored in say in the case of cookies? How to encrypt the data in cookies? What is the difference between them? How they are working internally? And everything we have discussed, right, in our at ASP.NET when I start ASP.NET Core MVC. And that is the reason why I'm not giving focus on session and cookies and data annotation, model binding. And why I'm not giving focus because we have already discussed. So I'm not discussing what do you mean by redirect to action method. What do you mean by right add model error? What is happening if I'm calling this view by passing this one? Why how model binding is working, right? So these are the topic which we have already covered. And I'm not going to repeat the same thing. What is my main objective now? Now is only focus on ASP.NET Core identity, not the topics which we have already discussed. Clear? Thank you, guys. Anyone having any question? Okay.
No, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.